Hey film fans, so today I wanted to talk about risk. So this film is experimental because of the method that we used. On a conventionally shot film, you have camera systems that come from usually a rental house. So everything, it's all a system that's tried and true. You know everything's going to work, you know exactly how it's going to work. Because nobody else was doing this at the time, shooting with anamorphic adapters, combining that with traditional taking lenses to get that wide view, we actually had to do tests to find out if this was even going to work at all. I went to a company called Unique Devices, and they had worked with filmmakers like Terrence Malick on a particular film where they built custom optics. They were a shop that would build anything you wanted, and I told them what I was trying to do. They said, sure, we can build it. And at the time, the CinemaScope lens, while they were out there, they were rare and they were very expensive. If you wanted to buy one on eBay, I think it was around $5,000 or more. So what I decided to use was an adapter called a Delrama because I couldn't get CinemaScope. Dan Morris, the owner of the company, Unique Devices, told me about this guy named Marcus who had made a film using a similar technique, and he said maybe you ought to give him a call and see if he has any pointers for you. So I said, yeah, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that. So I got in touch with Marcus and told him what I was trying to do. He took a look at my lens and he said, no, you don't want that. You need CinemaScope. And I said, I know, that's what I wanted to use, but I can't afford one. They're way too expensive. And he said, well, I have one. You know, at the time I was a student, undergrad student, had like no money, striking out on this venture that he knew was really risky. He kind of, along with other people, came alongside, and one of the ways he did that was offering to rent me this CinemaScope attachment, and basically rented this to me for $100, and I had it for around 4 months, 3 months or 4 months. That was just a small step forward because we still had to test it to find out how to make it work. Marcus, even though he had done this before, he wouldn't tell us how to make it work. He did ask me a couple of questions to kind of, I guess, gauge and see if I had any idea about what I was about to attempt. In a very experimental workflow, very different from if you were in Hollywood and you went to the company that rented CinemaScope cameras and lenses as an entire kit. And so I gave him the answers to the questions, and he kind of just nodded and he went, okay. And he wouldn't tell me if I was right or wrong. He just said, okay. And within just a few weeks, I think, we finally had everything together so that we could go out, Carson and I could go out and do our camera tests. A week later, we get it back, and the footage looked beautiful. If you've never gone through an entire project with a new workflow before, something's going to go wrong. So it was still risky, but I decided to move forward. And keep in mind, we're shooting film, so you can't look at your footage at the end of the day. There were no dailies. We had to ship our film to LA to have it processed, and it took about a week for us to get it. Long story short, by the time we wrapped, the 7-day production turned into a 15-day production. And by the end, the one thing that worked flawlessly was the CinemaScope rig. Everything else pretty much went wrong and blew up in our faces, mainly the weather. Moral of the story is, take a risk.